Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining today from the Department of Trade Consumer Protection. It's the expert of all experts. I was trying to think how many years we've been together now, Michelle. Michelle here, but it's been many years, and we're so thankful that you keep coming back and telling us new, old, and everything else in between.
Yeah, when I think back on that quick ask of how long, I think we're coming up on a decade here. Yeah, it's been a good relationship. Thanks for participating.
I am so thankful that you guys keep coming back, and the team is second to none. And today, the team, you're reporting to us on a scam spotlight, and I like the title here: "Old School Letter Mailing Scam." New again. Who knew? So you're thinking to yourself, so you're telling me that letters are coming in the mail that are fraudulent, essentially, right? Or are you saying, what are you saying? Oh man.
No, I'm saying the old tried and true tactics, they don't go away. They just maybe take a pause. And so fraudulent letters, scammers trying to reach you that way. We don't get a lot in our mailboxes that is legitimate. And so the scammers are trying to make these things look legitimate and bring them to your attention because we've made sure everyone's hanging up on them. So this is another way to try and reach people, reach you through the mail.
It's very interesting. And you can't say that everybody isn't connected these days, but I suppose, all these tactics, some break through, and this is just interesting that here in the mail that something would actually potentially work. But I asked the question off here, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. But you are seeing reports of this, so let's talk about a few examples of one letter claimed to come from a law firm. And started that stated a Wisconsin-based recipient was eligible for a claim from a stranger's life insurance policy. Very interesting. Very like you could say it's legit, but when I think of this and I hear this, I think if you got a text message with the same information, you would be like, okay, that's pretty random. But that's how this works, right? 10,000 letters go out, and somebody's going to get hooked on this because it crosses some type of line where they're like, oh, I was working on something like this, or oh man, I was in the middle of this. Okay, here we go.
Well, right. And they're using the same tactics, excitement, because this is worth a policy worth almost $10 million. And so now, okay, some long lost relative potentially passed away. That's what they're trying to say here is that this policy holder didn't have any other relatives or beneficiaries. You have the same last name. They do a direct mailing to you, making it look legit using your name, your address. It's not just some postal customer. And so you start to think, oh, this could be real, right? This really happens. They put it on nice looking letterhead, making it look all official. Law firms, of course, in these types of cases get a portion of the proceeds, and here they want 10%. So over $900,000 is what they're seeking because it's $10 million. Well, you stop thinking clearly and you start going, oh, could this be? Who is this? I'm in a call when this Canadian law firm doesn't even exist. It's just this scammer. And of course, you need to pay the money out of pocket rather than out of your beneficiary, payment. So that's right there. That's the catch. That's the scam. They want your money, whereas normally if you were to inherit something, it would come out of plus the taxes type situation. So that's just one example. We have a second one where they're using a little bit different tactic. It's a Medicare situation. A consumer received a letter indicating that they were subject to penalty fees for enrolling in Medicare past a deadline, and they were about to turn 65. Well, some of that's public information. That's just those data banks that exist out there. So they sent a letter with, quote, helpful tips, information, resources. They gave you a phone number that you could call and an email address that you could reach out to if you had any questions about registering or in that website. However, all led you to the fake Medicare, not the legitimate. And of course, they also sent you an enrollment registration survey or form to be filled out. So while they weren't after money, they were after your personally identifiable information in this case, which we all know and have talked about has tremendous value.
Yeah, and as I was kind of making that comparison to again a text message scan, an email or whatever, in all cases here, if you start to pursue this letter, so if you decide to call the number, go to the webs, go to whatever is the claim in there, I mean, you just got to stop and ask yourself some questions here. And so I love this first one. Pause and talk to somebody that you trust. Like, it seems like, well, duh, but honestly, like, there's a lot of information there that's tossed out, and you're just being caught blind with, oh, I didn't even know this existed. It's a red flag, but talking to an outside person looking in at it might actually help bring that awareness.
Well, and in this one case, the Medicare case, talk to someone they know and trust that's been through it already. So you know how it works, or go to the website on your own to see how it works. Because how much have we said government doesn't reach you by phone? They're going to mail you. And now you've gotten this letter. And of course, you've missed a deadline, which has implications to it. So yeah, you need to research the sender. And in this case, for that example, it could be difficult because Medicare is real. So how do you tell what's real, what isn't? And that's where talking to someone you trust, even consumer protection, will help. And just learning more about scams and all the tactics, and, participating in this program, you'll hear all these different variations on the same thing. But there's always something new that they're trying.
All right. Well, to prevent just future risk of receiving the random mailings, although I don't know how it feels like it's never ending, so take it for what it is. But you got a couple of things here. First one, don't fill out any random surveys or sweepstakes entry forms. Why?
You're going to minimize who you share your information with. And once you hand that over, you don't control how it's shared either. I mean, in some situations, you may fill it out and they say, I'm going to share it with this, or their privacy policy says that I'm going to contain it here. And if it's a contractual engagement that you're having, we may have some consumer protection because it's part of a transaction. But when you're just entering to win something, that information can get piled and shared again and shared again and again and again. So just don't fill out those random surveys because you don't really know who you're engaging with.
And then you do have exercise consumer opt-out rights. What is that referring to?
Well, financial institutions are required to let you know that you have the right to opt out of sharing information, and this extends to pre-approved credit card offers. So you can go to optoutprescreen.com to get your information removed from different websites. You can also be sure that you minimize the amount of direct mail that you receive by signing up with the Direct Marketing Association, or DMA, in their mail preference services to get your name on the list or off the list, if you will, so you don't get junk mail when they are selling it to different marketers who are targeting different groups based on the information that they have. And there's a fee. It's very small. It's $2 online, $3 if you do it by mail, but it lasts for 10 years and it really does reduce the amount of junk mail. And then you have to reach out independently or individually, if you will, to anyone you currently receive mail from to ask them to remove your name from those mailing lists. But the more you can reduce that junk mail, the easier it is to see the real legitimate things you need to deal with and the scams that are out there.
Well, it just seems like everything circles around again and again and again, and that's part of the business. But nevertheless, if you want to stay up on scams, there's some great information on your guys' website, certainly. And if you do think you are being scammed on something, certainly reach out to you guys who can help them kind of find the direction. Where can they find that information, or just ask questions? I mean, if they have questions, you're going to answer them.
That's right. Go to DATCP's Consumer Protection Hotline, 1-800-422-7128, or the website is datcp.wi.gov.
All right, Michelle, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for the great information.
Thank you.